Embodied Resilience spent the weekend and today at the Never Ever Forget Me Indigenous Music and Artists Festival that was at the Agriplex here in London. And as somebody who grew up with Indigenous ancestry and knowing that we had it, but never really talking about it and coming to it as an adult, it's hard for me to be in spaces like this because there's a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of pretendingism that is going on, and I can see both sides, and I understand why we need to have these conversations. But for those who struggle with their identity or with knowing if they're Indigenous enough, it can be really hard to be in these places. I've always been welcomed, which has been really nice, but I've worked with people who haven't, and it can be a really hard thing to do and to be aware of. So for those that have Indigenous status or Indigenous ancestry, on this day, I see you, and I know it's hard. And to people that are settlers that don't have that connection, today and this weekend is a time of reflection, of reflecting on being on Indigenous land and the privileges and the lifestyle that you have due to being on this land and the atrocities that have happened to our people in order to have this life. And so it's important to take the time to recognize where you are and what has occurred in order for you to have this lifestyle. And that is part of truth and reconciliation, is understanding that these harms weren't that far in the past, and the last residential school closed in 1996. It's not hundreds of years ago, and the effects are ongoing and are still impacting people to this day. So these are things to think about. They're not easy topics, but they're important topics. Miigwech.